All right, guys, we are back. Today's it's a sunny day out here in Pennsylvania. Kind of struggling with some health issues right now. My eyes are really bothering me, but we push through. We always do. And I didn't want to just not do what I'm supposed to be doing, which is advocating and doing the podcast and all the other random things I do. I try not to let it, impede and stop my life from moving forward. It just right now maybe moving a little slower than I'd like, but so be it. As you know, I always like to tell you where I found our guest, and this one, another one from TikTok. I built a really cool community by going on live. Something I didn't really want to do at first because I didn't have a lot of great success with it early on, and now I've met so many awesome people and very supportive people, and she's somebody who I've met a while back, and she's always nice to me and just kind, and so I was happy we exchanged numbers, and she's part of the little support group that we started, and all that. So and she's got her own story, and she's always dealing with her own struggles, and even though our struggles are different, I can relate to a lot of what she's dealing with. So sometimes you bond over random things, but especially when it comes to health issues for me, I always can try to put myself in their shoes because I deal with it every day, and it's some days are better than others, and I always have empathy for somebody who's struggling with their health on a daily basis because, again, I said this earlier in a live, but when you have fluctuating disabilities, you just really never know what to prepare for. So and I feel like those of us with disabilities are some of the strongest people that exist because we have to battle every day. There is no taking a day off. Taking a day off for us is, literally just doing nothing. But we have to exist. We still have to shower. We still have to do stuff, even if we don't want to do it. And then if you throw kids and pets and family into the mix, you got to do stuff for other people. So anyway, I'm rambling. But anyway, why don't you introduce yourself, sweetheart, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello. My name is Sarah. I'm married. I have 4 kiddos. And about a year ago, I was diagnosed with cervical foraminal stenosis. It's kind of a mouthful. It took me a while to learn how to say it. But essentially, my spine and nerves are kind of being pinched. It causes a lot of pain, and it causes numbness in my left arm because it is getting pinched on my left side. For a while there, I didn't have very much movement in my left arm from a pinched nerve. I could barely even pick up a cup. It was pretty sad, but that has gone away. It's still a little weak, but it's not as bad as it was. It gives me a lot of trouble most days, but I'm still trying to do the dang thing, and wake up every day and just keep trying. And I'm supposed to be having surgery. I just don't know when. That's still kind of up in the air. They still want to do a couple more things to see if that will help. And if they don't, then surgery is the next step. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's only been a year, so
Right.
I'm still kind of getting used to everything of what all comes with this diagnosis and the symptoms and all of that stuff. So I'm getting there, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't.
Sure. Well, obviously, good luck. I really hope everything goes well with the surgery and and all that. But I was thinking of you today when I woke up because of just dealing with my eye stuff, and I'm just like, man, I can only imagine like having 4 kids and having all this. Like I live alone besides my cat, and so I can just kind of bury myself in my bed and just be like, I don't want to do this today. But
Right.
when you're a mom and a wife, like you still have duties. And
Yes, exactly. Very challenging most days. Luckily, my kids are older. They're not toddlers and babies. I would be in a world of hurt if they were smaller
sure.
and needed me a lot more. It would be pretty hard. But I have the older kids to help me, with a lot of things and stuff. So it's not as bad as it probably could be for sure. So I'm very lucky to have them.
Yeah.
help me out, you know.
Well, I've heard this a lot from a lot of disabled mothers who, you have that protective mama bear in you, and when you're the one that's struggling and you can't do much, it
Right,
really it deflates you because you're just like, I want to be able to pick my kid up and I want to be able to go hug them and do whatever they need, and I can't lift the laundry basket or whatever it is that they're struggling with.
right, exactly. Yes, it definitely can have its challenges, but
Yeah, but I mean, you said I think your husband he's a good support system.
yes, absolutely. I
That's
mean,
good.
he works, you know, so most of the time it's just me, you know, at home with the kiddos, but we manage pretty good for the most part. Certain things I'll have to wait, you know, to do until he gets home.
Sure.
But
No,
I try.
that's good, man. Because love in general is hard to find, but finding somebody who actually supports you no matter what, right? Like, as you think when you do the whole "till death do us part" thing, you're like, we're together forever. You don't know down the road what's gonna happen, right? You assume like you're gonna make it through whatever storm comes your way, but you don't know what you're signing up for. You don't know that, like, hey, man, I might be disabled and you're gonna have to carry 70-30
Right.
instead of 50-50, right? Like, you just never know.
Exactly. Yeah. It definitely was a challenge to our family and our marriage of like, okay, is this gonna break us or is this gonna, you know, make us a lot stronger? And, you know, there's definitely been some days where I'm just like, oh, you know, how are we gonna manage? How are we gonna do this? But I mean, we've been together for 20 years, so
That's
um,
awesome.
it's just gotta stand for something, you know.
Yeah, man, you put all that time and effort in. You hope that everything, and you have 4 kids with them. And it's like you hope that means something at the end of the day. Uh,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
we were talking about that on the live earlier, where it's just like, I think so many people are just looking for this like fresh start, but they don't realize like the fresh start is not what they expect. They just think, oh, you're gonna get out there and I'm gonna find love, and oh, we're gonna have like, because they look at like the early parts of the relationship, like, man, we were all over each other and we just were smitten and butterflies and all that. And yeah, that sounds cute, but that only works if you're like actually compatible and you're both into each other and you both are looking for the same thing and all that. But you think that you're just gonna find this like true love again. That doesn't really happen very often. So
Right.
you can't just like disappear and just leave your whole life behind to hopefully to get on one of these dating sites and find something else. Like, you're probably not gonna find it.
Right. Yeah. No. I feel like sometimes it just happens when you least expect it, you know. And I think I said that to you earlier too. And it seems kind of like a cliche, I guess, to say that, but I mean, it really is true. Like when you kind of stop searching and looking, you know, it kind of just happens in such an unexpected way. I mean, that's how I met my husband, in such an unexpected way, and never would have thought, you know, 20 years down the road that we would even still be together with 4 kids. Like, it's crazy, you know, how life works out the way that it does. You know, you never know.
Yeah, you never know exactly.
I never thought I would be married or even have kids. So it's crazy to think that's where I'm at now. I mean, I wouldn't trade it at all,
Sure.
you know, but definitely never thought that that's, you know, where I would be.
Yeah, it is. It always is funny to kind of look back at the trajectory of your life and be like, where did I see myself going, and then where I'm at now. I say this a lot about
Right.
my story, where it's like I used to be petrified of talking in front of people and never would. I would hide. Like, if I was in a classroom, I wanted to be in the back, in the corner where you could
Oh,
barely see me.
absolutely. Yeah,
Never,
I was the same way.
yeah, never wanted to show my eyes or my scars or anything. And
Yeah.
I hid from myself, let alone the world. And uh, the idea of now having a podcast and, being online and all these things and just being like, hey guys, I got bullied and molested and all these things. It's like, uh,
Hmm.
it's a trip to see like where I thought I was headed and where I'm actually at now. I'd have never envisioned
Oh,
it.
yeah, absolutely. It's weird how life kind of goes in such a crazy direction that you never thought it would go. I mean, I agree. I never even thought that I would ever be, you know, talking to people that I didn't know very well, or have a TikTok, because I mean, most of my life I was so, yes, like I was just so shy. I was pretty much like scared of my own shadow. It was just terrible.
Mm.
and I never thought that I would be where I am today. But my kids actually, I think, really helped that situation of not being so scared of life, and everything, because you have to get up and you got to do it. Like your kids are looking up to you, and you have to be that person. And you get to a point eventually where you're like, okay, I can't be scared of everything, because then what is that showing my kids? Like, I don't want them to think that you have to be scared of everything, and don't get out there in the world like you need to. Not that just being shy is a bad thing, but I was more than that. Like I hid on purpose. I didn't want anything. I just was in my own little world all the time, and that felt safe. But it's just not healthy either. To hide out like that, because then you don't know what you missed out on. Like, hello, me and you are talking right now. If I never even would have done anything, and put myself out there in the way that I never thought that I would, I wouldn't have met you or any of the other people in our group. And it's been so helpful to meet like-minded people, or to meet people that just understand what it's like to literally just be in pain all of the time. So it's nice. I like that, and I can't imagine if I didn't put myself out there, I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have that connection. So I think sometimes you have to do it anyway, and do it scared.
Yeah, well, it's a process. I mean, it takes a while, but yeah, we never give ourselves enough credit for doing so, because it's like,
No, we never do.
you imagine, like I said, going back to where we were to where we are now, whether it's 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or 5 months ago. You think that you're like, at one point, like, I would never be doing any of this. Like, it doesn't, like, even if it's, like, I remember the first time I got on a dating site, I don't know, this was early in dating sites, and I sent somebody a direct message, and I don't even think it was called direct message back then. And I sent them a message, and immediately as soon as I sent it, I was like, oh my God, I messaged somebody. What the hell? What am I doing? And it was like, that's how, like, weirded out and shy I was. But the idea that I was even getting on a dating site at all was the progress. Putting myself out there, but it seems stupid. And now it's like I get on a dating site, and if I get a notification or whatever, it's like it's the easiest thing in the world. Or just like I said, talking and being goofy on the internet. Like, it's one thing for me to be on there. It's another thing for me to be sharing my personal stuff. Then it's another thing for me to doing it without hiding, and then not worried about being judged or any of that. And so it takes its time, because progress is just, I always say, it's kind of like a computer program, something that's just kind of off and on in the background. You don't even remember it's even there. It's just happening, and it's downloading, it's doing whatever it's got to do. And one day you just kind of look and you go, oh man, we're at 98%. I forgot this was even on.
Right.
And that's just kind of,
exactly,
that's kind of what it's like. It's working. It's just not, it's not as visible as you think, because you got a lot going on, and as you know,
right,
life doesn't slow down.
Yeah, it's hard to notice those little changes. When they're happening, you kind of see it like, oh wow, look how far I've come. And not even that long ago, I was like, no way, there's no way I would do that, or no way I could do that, or it just kind of happens when you're not paying attention.
Well, and when traumatic things like what's happening for you right now is, life doesn't just slow down because your life is getting chaotic. Like, you still have to do everything that you were doing before. So it's not like, oh, we get a year off, like it's like a sabbatical at work. Like, it's not like that. Like, life continues. You still got to pay your bills. You still got to be an attentive wife and a mother, and you still got to get groceries and all these things. You can't just clean the house. Like, you can't just be like, you know what? For the next year, I'm not doing any of those things. That's not how life works.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Be nice.
I mean, I definitely do have days where I'm just like, yeah, I'm done. I give up. Like, and I used to look at those types of days in like such a negative way, and I would get so down on myself in those moments. Just essentially just feeling sorry for yourself. But now I'm trying really hard to kind of look at it in a way that, like, okay, I needed that time. Like, I needed just to have like a moment of just feeling that way, and then I'll come back hopefully better, because I feel like I spent way too long over the years not really taking that in and accepting it as this is part of the healing process. Like this is something that has to be done too. Along with those little wins and all that stuff, you also have to give your time to like, okay, I'm going to have this day to just feel bad because I need to, because I just need a day,
Yeah.
And then you do come back better, or at least you hope, to come back better, from that place. But I spent too long bearing everything, never talking about anything that bothered me or never sharing, what I was feeling, or I just always buried it because I felt like I was bothering people or I didn't want them to feel sorry for me or it's those internal feelings that you get of just like, I'm just not going to say anything, or maybe they won't understand, or maybe they'll be judgy about it, or, you kind of just shut down, from that, and you kind of get used to it. But I truly believe that it is part of the whole healing process to take the time to feel those things. Sure. and not bury them, because then you blow up, and I know that you understand that because we were kind of talking about something similar to that, either in the group chat or on live, but I believe that it is definitely healthy and part of that whole healing process, mentally and physically, just to take a day when you actually need it, and then just keep going,
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times we go through our life and we're just, so corny and typical, but, we go through life just taking so much shit for granted, and then something is taken away from us, and then we understand how valuable it is. And like,
right, yeah.
I know I've been in a wheelchair before because, I had lost a lot of my mobility when I was a kid, but so I don't really remember that. But like last year I was having this like urinary issue where I was having trouble peeing, so they had to do this like minor surgery, and everything got better and all that. But I had a catheter in for a couple of days, and for a couple of days I couldn't walk right. And I was like, man, I really miss being able to walk correctly. And of course they took the catheter out and everything got back to normal, and I started walking perfectly fine. And it made me just realize, like in that moment, like, man, like it's a privilege to just be able to stand up. It's a privilege just to be able to flex your legs or whatever, or be able to sit up out of bed. And so it's like, unfortunately, it takes obviously I learned the eye stuff very early, but even if I've had a disability for 32 out of my 36 years of existing, and there's still times where I go, man, I forget how valuable my hearing is, or whatever else that's going on. So these things, disabilities and illnesses, they teach you a huge learning lesson about life and how to be grateful for what you do have and not wait for what you don't.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, some days it's hard to get to that positive point of,
for sure,
being grateful for the other things that still work, that still function, and I never really thought about it as much as I do now. And it's just a weird kind of turnaround of how everything worked out. I used to be the one, that took care of people, and I've seen people at their worst, at their complete worst. I've held people's hands when they died. I was there in so many situations where I couldn't even imagine being in those situations myself. But in the moment when I'm doing it, I'm just seeing it as, a job, and I'm just helping anywhere that I can, and trying to do everything that I can. And then my perspective on what I used to do kind of changed once I was the patient, essentially. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what it feels like, And not that I wasn't sympathetic to these, people, I'm not meaning in that way, but it just kind of gave me a different perspective on everything. I was like, okay, now I am the patient.
Yeah, I think it's like, if you ever seen like an athlete or somebody who's at the end of their career and they refuse to admit that it's happening. They refuse that, it's just they're not the same anymore, but they still keep forcing it, right? They still keep trying, even though this isn't for them anymore. physically,
Mhm.
mentally, whatever. And I think it's like that with career choices or whatever in your life. At some point you have to know when to, this is it, because everything is temporary, including our lives. So
Mhm.
there's a point where you just got to go, okay, I'm not the caregiver anymore. you know
Right.
but
Yeah.
but it's a much harder pill to swallow to say I'm not the caregiver. I need the caregiver. That's a whole other
Right.
problem.
Yeah. Oh
That's a
no, it definitely was. Like it's been a year, like I said, since this all started, and probably for the first 6 months, it was just awful, terrible. I was totally in this state of mind of like, this will go away. It's fine. I'll get back to it. Everything will be fine. And I was just totally just in a state of like not accepting anything. And my husband finally had to sit me down, and he wasn't being mean about it, wasn't trying to be mean about it, but he was like, you need to accept that you are not going to be the same. Like this is permanent. It's not going away. No, you are not going to go back to your job that you used to. Like you have to start taking care of yourself. You have to start being aware of what you're doing with your body. Like you can't do all of these same things that you used to. And that was really hard for me because I am just such an independent, hard worker, and I am the type of person that will seriously never ask a man for help. And my husband knows that too. Like, I'll ask you if I want to, but I can literally do it myself. And
right.
so it was really hard for me to be like, okay, I need your help. And it kind of made him feel bad for a little bit because he's like, why don't you just ask me? Like, ask me for help when you need it. I love you and I'm here to help you and all that stuff. But I was such in a state of like, no, I'm going to do this. I can do it. And
Hmm.
he's like, no, you can't. So it was a rough like 6 months of just really understanding like, okay, this I have to get used to my new norm. It's not going to go back how I thought.
Sure. Well, that's why I said to you the other day when you were talking about what you used to do and you still want to help people, and I'm like, yeah, man, like you can help way more people than you could help in some sort of nursing home or wherever. Like
Right?
you can
Yeah.
do so much more. You can only help a couple people. You only have a few clients or whatever, but you
Right.
can
Yeah.
touch a lot more. I never thought that I would have 10,000, 11,000 followers and people direct messaging me every day going, hey, you help me in my life. Like I'm just some silly guy who lives in Pennsylvania who's just trying to make a difference. And, you know,
Mhm.
it's hard to gauge whether or not you are because you think numbers and all that is what matters. But if you help somebody every day, especially a different person every day, then you're helping way more people than you were helping at your other job. So,
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I definitely feel that way now. And see it in that light. But it took a while to get to that point of like, okay, need to reevaluate some things and figure out a different way where I can still do what I truly love to do, but I just might have to do it in a different way now.
yeah, and your different way may be more beneficial. It'll make you a lot happier than you ever did. Like I've worked with a lot. I've worked with children with learning disabilities, and I've worked with just helping people with disabilities find employment and all that. And there's stuff I liked, stuff I didn't. Especially with the employment part, I really was frustrating because I didn't. I'm like, how do I push somebody to want a job as bad as I want a job?
Right.
Just because
Yeah.
they have a disability doesn't mean we fully understand each other. And I mean, they know that I'll accept them and won't judge them, and they know that I can relate and understand. But if they're not as persistent in wanting to pursue a job as much as I do, then it's not going to work out. And
Oh,
then you get
absolutely.
a lot of people who they are struggling in life and you can't save them, and that's a hard thing for me to do because I want to help them. I want to save them. I want to get them out of financial debt, or I want to take away their pain, but I can't do
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
And so that it just becomes saddening. So where it's like, or at least with like TikTok or just social media, like you can help from afar. You can do what you can reach out to people and do a lot of different things, but you can't take away all their problems. You can just be there for them, show up and let them know that they're not alone and stuff like that. And you're still doing just as much good, but you're also not taking anything away from yourself, because that's the thing. I think sometimes
Right.
we sacrifice so much for other people and then we forget to leave a little bit left for ourselves. And
Oh, absolutely.
jobs like you had are taxing on your body and your
Oh,
mind.
yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I loved my job, but absolutely, there was many times where I came home and I literally would just drop to my knees and just cry from what I had experienced in the day. you know.
Yeah.
Especially working at the hospital, you come across many, many different people. You know, I've had different, you know, I've worked in the nursing homes, I've worked at the hospital, I've worked in the mental health unit, you know, so I've kind of been all over the place healthcare wise. You know, I've also worked with people in addiction. Um, and I can relate, you know, in that way because I'm like 4.5 years sober. So
Congratulations.
thank you very much.
Amazing.
It's definitely not easy. So I like doing that. But it's very, very hard on you mentally and physically because you are giving everything that you have to help the other person. And I love doing that, but sometimes all of this work and energy that you put in, it didn't do anything, you know,
Yeah.
especially in the department of people in addiction. You know, you can do all of these things that you think will just be so helpful and beneficial to this person, but they won't do it just because you told them to. You know, they need to find something within themselves to be like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I need to better myself for myself, you know, not for anyone else. And that's why I ended up getting sober. Like I essentially got tired of my own shit, you know, even though I had people around me telling me all the things that I needed to do or what I was doing wrong or, you know, all of that stuff. Even people that were very close to me and loved me and cared for me, they would be telling me all of this and I wasn't hearing it. You know, I wasn't ready to hear it.
Yeah.
Until I got to a point where, okay, I am done. I don't like this. I don't want to do this anymore. And then, you know, you get to that point where you kind of help yourself. But that can be frustrating with either healthcare or with addiction. Like you can pour your heart and everything into a person because you just want them to be happy and you want them to succeed and you want them to do well. You know, you want to see them happy.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work, you know, and you put all this time and effort into it and you're like, oh, yes, it's very draining. It's taxing, and it's not you. You know, it's not that you did anything wrong. It's just they're not there yet. You know.
Yeah, everybody's at different stages in their life, and
Absolutely, yeah.
and then there's just so many systems that are fucked up anyway, right? Like you can't.
Oh yeah.
You're like, hey man, Social Security's taking all my money. Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. I'm lucky that they're not taking mine. You know,
right? Yeah.
Like, and again, that's one of the reasons why I gravitated towards you and just liked you because you know you're just a kind person, right? Because it's not about to me a lot of it has to do with intent, and like you want to save people, you want to like if I could take everyone's disability away and just be just a person in a bubble, I would, but that can't happen, and
right, yeah,
and so I got to just try to help how I can help. Everyone helps their own way, right? I don't want to be a firefighter. I don't like fire. Right, but I want to be able to help put out other fires, the proverbial fires. I don't want to. I don't, you know, metaphorical fires. I don't want to put out real fires because I don't like it. I don't like heat. But you know, I don't want to be a cop. I don't want to be shot at.
Right.
I don't want to be a politician. There's a lot of things I don't want to do, but I want to save people. Right. I want to help people, and sometimes just being alive, existing, and just talking about your pain and you know, showing people that like, hey man, like this ain't easy, but I promise you can get through it. However it is, you're going to get through it. And it's like, yeah, like jobs like you had, those jobs suck in a lot of ways because you don't get paid a whole lot.
No.
You tend to get treated like shit. You deal with a lot of very sickly people and you know, every day is a reminder of how shitty life can really be. And you want to help these people. Some of them don't have family members. Some of them have all kind of other issues. Some of them are just being mistreated by the system or their families. And there's a lot of like, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to just call their family and be like, stop abusing her. Like you can't save everybody, but like you see the bruises or whatever, and you're like, I can't fucking stop this. This sucks. But
yeah, it is very emotionally draining because your hands are tied, you know, in so many situations and. It would just really bother me. And it bothered me way more than anyone else I worked with. And that bothered me even more because I'm like, well, why don't you guys care? Why don't you care as much as I do? Like, you should be caring. This should bother you. Like, this is a human. You know, why doesn't this upset you? And so it was hard to work there with certain personalities because it made me so angry that other people didn't care as much as I did, you know. and you're
Yeah.
putting all this work and effort into it, and you're just like, oh, why isn't this? Why,
Well,
And not everyone has that same mindset. They don't have that same heart, and some people are really just there because it's their job, and that's sad. And I hated that part of it
yeah.
because I didn't see it as a job in that way.
Well, you want people to be as passionate as you are, because if we're all together on this, we can actually make the change that's necessary. But some people are just there because it's a job, which I don't know why you would get in that field in the first place. But to me, you have to have some kind of love and care for people in order to do that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the system is so messed up. And the reality is there's way too many people in nursing homes. Most people should be
Oh yeah.
with their families. I mean, there's 30-year-olds that are
Absolutely.
disabled that are in nursing homes because
Oh, I know.
they
I've
don't have
I've
anybody.
taken care of several of them, and none of their families would ever come around, and it was just really hard to watch,
Yeah,
and there was no reason for it. They had families that came from, I wouldn't say came from money, but I mean they were doing okay.
sure.
But they chose that it would be a lot easier to just kind of shove their family member in a nursing home. And I understand that every situation, every family is different, and maybe they weren't able to, or maybe they just couldn't for whatever reason. But I've just always seen things so much differently, and I've even opened up my own home to people that needed help. So I never understood that, of why people couldn't just rearrange their lives essentially and just make it work because I
Sure.
would be that way. And that's another problem that I have that my husband always reminds me of, like, okay, you can't make people think the way that you do. Like, you just can't expect you out of everyone. I'm like, damn it, yes I can. Like,
Yeah.
I demand it. And so it's frustrating, but I mean, I understand, I get it, but yeah, it can be very frustrating.
Yeah, you got to turn that little voice off in your head, because then there's the negative spin on it is just like, oh, you're not doing enough. How come you're not letting these
Right.
people in your house? And it's like, you can't just let anybody in your house. You can't just
Right.
zap all your funds to take care of other people. It's like you have kids. So at
Right.
the end of the day, your responsibility is you, your husband, your kids. And then,
Oh,
the,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yes. And I understand that and know it, but it's something that I've had to learn over the years of, like, okay, I can't continue to just drop everything to try to help this person because I felt like I needed to because no one else was, you
right,
know. And like my husband always tells me, like, you can't be the answer to everything. He's like, you're only one person. Like, you can't do all of this. Like, you're carrying all this weight, and at the end of the day, it's killing you, and it's not really even helping the situation. And I'm like, I get that. Um, so it is tough to kind of just tell myself, all right, I can't be Superwoman all the time. Like, I need to take a step back and realize, okay, if I can help, great. If I can't, I need to be able to say, no, that I can't. And
yeah,
I've always had this guilt of, like, oh, I'm gonna feel so bad if I can't help, or if I say no, I feel bad about it. But I've had to learn to tell myself that, okay, it is okay to say no sometimes if you're just not able to.
yeah. You're draining yourself. You're not leaving yourself any time or energy left just for you to process anything. Like for me, I have people on with all kind of ailments and things, but like I stick to mainly disability, mental health as far as what I fight for. But if I have a friend who's been homeless and he's just like, hey man, can you participate in this thing? Can you support me? Because I really I just want to stop the homeless from population from growing and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah man, I love the
Mm-hmm.
cause. I just can't spend too much time in that because that's not my cause. It doesn't mean I don't want. I think it's ridiculous of all the money that goes around how we don't have all the how we can't find homes for these people, how we can't change what's going on, and how the homeless population continues to grow, and we're just like, whatever. Like it bothers me, right? I hate seeing somebody out in this heat or in the cold, just sitting there and just trying to scoundrel through or scavenge through trash cans to find food. Like I think that's awful. But I can't sit here and
Oh,
be the supporter and the voice of homeless because I don't know anything about that lifestyle, and I've never experienced it. But at the same time, like if somebody who I know is doing something, I'm there to support them. But you can't you know put your hand in all these different baskets. Like you have to stick to what you
yeah,
know and
absolutely.
be there for if someone who needs you, sure, but you can't drain
I
all
mean,
your
I
energy.
do know a little bit about, homelessness, but only for my own personal experiences, but I know that there's a lot of different reasons why, someone, I mean, and some people actually, honestly, believe it or not, choose to be homeless. Like they don't,
Sure.
for whatever reason, in their lives of things just not working out, they kind of just prefer to just be away, from that way of life and that way of living.
Yeah.
And I've met several people over the years where they truly were happy just not being a part of society.
Yeah.
And it seems sad, but if they are happier that way, then that's, that's okay. If that works for you, and then other people, of course, are in those situations and they can't help it,
Yeah.
But yeah, we spent a lot of years being homeless, living in women's shelters, living in tiny little apartments with 6 people. Like it can get bad, and I can understand it and I can relate to it, but every situation is different.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know where to help or how to help, and
Yeah. I'm just using necessarily as an example.
Right, yeah.
For you,
absolutely.
that makes more sense. I'm just saying, like, point is just you can't constantly try to save everybody, even if it's something you stand against or something you don't agree with. It's just
Right,
like,
yeah.
I try not to get involved in too many different things, like let's say human trafficking. I've had people on who are pushing to clean up the area and rescue, young women and children. Of course, who the hell
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's very
stand behind that?
overwhelming.
Yeah, who wouldn't stand behind that? But I can't.
Mhm.
I've been molested, but I've never been a part of that life, and so I can't make that a focal point of everything I'm fighting for, because I already have enough things that I'm fighting for. And it's just one of those things. Like I said, if I have a friend who's like, hey man, we're doing this march or whatever, can you show up? I'm like, absolutely. I just can't be every
Right,
day
yeah.
being like, yeah, disability, human trafficking, addiction, homelessness. I
Yeah.
can't do it. It's too much. You're pulling me in too many different directions where I'm like, I have to
And then you're
stick
not
right now.
really being helpful to anyone at that point,
Yeah.
because you can't focus and put your time and energy onto one thing. You're just like all over the place, and then you just crash and burn. Like, trust me, I've been there.
Sure.
And it doesn't work. It doesn't work when you're trying to do too many things, like, because you are only one person, and it works so much better just to find your one thing, your passion, and kind of just really zone in on that and focus on that, because then you can get so much further with it,
Sure.
one thing at a time.
Absolutely. Can we, and if you don't want to, you don't have to, but can we talk a little bit about like your addiction time, like how all that was for you, and obviously what you were addicted to, just and how you made it through?
Alcohol was my main thing. I mean, I dabbled in other things, but it was mainly alcohol. And it started in a way, like, to kind of go back when I was talking about how terribly shy I was and how scared of the world I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I had found over time, once I got a little bit older, how comfortable and how outgoing it made me feel. When I drank, I'm like, oh, what is this new magical thing that I discovered that makes me feel like a completely different person, And I got so stuck on feeling that way, even though it wasn't real and it was very temporary. That is essentially where my addiction started. Is it like, okay, well, I really like this feeling of not feeling, not being scared or worried or embarrassed or overwhelmed or shy. When I drink, I'm just a totally different person, and I'm outgoing and I'm loud and I'm confident and I'm all these things. But it was just fake. It was liquid courage, essentially.
Yeah, it makes you drop your guard and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I didn't mean it to turn into what it ended up turning into, but I also have a lot of stuff that I deal with from my childhood and my experiences and all of that stuff, and so it was kind of helping burying all that too. It was a Band-Aid for a problem that I never wanted to deal with. I didn't see it at the time or in the moment. I just liked the feeling of not feeling, and that's essentially how a lot of people start out, like, hey, this is a nice feeling, And then it turns into a problem, before you even know that it's a problem. So that's kind of where I was. And then I found myself drinking so much to where I was blacking out and I wasn't remembering anything. And that's never good.
No.
And it was really hard. It was the toughest time of my life. And I almost, my husband almost left me over it. I don't blame him for it. My kids were smaller at the time, luckily, because they don't remember when I was a raging alcoholic, luckily. Well, and plus, I never really, I didn't do it at home. I'd be out of the house.
Sure.
So they never saw me in that way, which I'm really thankful for, because that would be terrible to deal with. So I eventually just got to a point where I was just overdoing it every single weekend, and like I said, I was blacking out and not remembering anything, and I was having actual memory loss, and I was not remembering anything at all, and it was really bad. And then one day I got a DUI, and that was enough for me in that moment to make me turn things around, because I was like, wow, I never thought that I would be that person, that stupid person, that would be so selfish and to be driving around when I shouldn't have been,
Yeah.
And I felt really terrible and awful about myself, but like, I never thought that I would be this person, and I'm not this person. And yeah, that pretty much scared me straight and made me make a very hard choice of like, okay, well, either I continue living the way that I am and I'm just going to end up all alone with nothing, or I start making some changes, or I'm going to lose my entire family over something that is not worth it,
Sure.
So it was a really long journey, and it was really hard. It was one of the hardest things that I had to go through, by myself. I mean, I had support, but it was definitely something that I had to do for myself. And I had a couple of times where I, relapsed, I guess you'd call it. But yeah, I finally officially made it to 4.5 years without ever touching it.
Yeah.
And I'm super happy about that. I don't even think about it anymore, to be honest. It used to really bother me. But it's just I realized how much better life is without it.
Sure.
That I don't miss it, and it's not even a part of my life at all.
Awesome.
But yeah, it definitely got bad for a little bit there, but like I said, you have to get tired of your own shit, and I definitely got tired of mine.
Wow. I'm proud of you. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Of course. But I mean, so before you were kind of explaining it all, I was kind of doing the math in my head, because you said you were with your husband for 20 years and you've been sober for 4. So I was like, oh, so this makes sense why you guys are still together, is because you made it through some really hard times. Like, yeah, you guys love each other and you got kids and all that, but you made it through homelessness, you made it through addiction, you made it through now having a disability, and so on and so on. And I'm sure there's stuff on his end too. So you made it through. I mean, that's kind of why you're still together, because you made it through some times that were very challenging. So when you say "to death do us part,"
oh yeah,
you
absolutely.
actually pushed the limit of that to be like, do I still want to be here? Do I still want to be with this woman or this man right now? Because I'm not feeling it. And you're still here now, even though I know you're struggling and you're suffering in some ways. You still have such a great husband and great kids and a great life around you that it's like, it still keeps you, for the most part, pretty grounded.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without them, I probably wouldn't have much of anything. Like, I don't have much family around, that's supportive, but it's kind of always been that way. And I'm extremely thankful for, and I have to remind myself of that sometimes. It's like, okay, it could be a lot worse, and I definitely am thankful for what I have, even though it's a very small circle. We don't have much support outside of just our little family. That has to be enough, and we make it work. A lot of times we're kind of struggling along, by ourselves, not much outside support, but we always figure out some way, because we've been through some things that were designed to break us.
Yeah.
And we figured out a way to be like, okay, this is not happening. We are not going to be another statistic. We are going to push through this and figure it out one way or the other.
Yeah, I remember having my best friend before she passed on. We had this conversation because she was just super depressed about her family life because they were always poor, and I had to tell her. I said yes, like because she would look at me and my mom would buy me what I wanted and whatever at the time. This was some years ago, but and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, Lori, like I get that you're envious of I have that, right? But
Hmm.
my mom's always working. I don't see my mom a lot, and I
Right.
love her,
Yeah.
but I don't. My dad's not in the picture. I don't have brothers like you or my sister's never around. Like I don't have a lot of family. Like and my family's not very close. And I'm like, you have something
Hmm.
more valuable than anything money can buy. And I know that may sound corny, but it's like it's true. Like,
Oh
and
no, no, not at all. It's very true. I mean, I have to remind myself of that every day. That like, hey, things could be a lot worse. And yes, we are struggling, and we're going from paycheck to paycheck, and some things we can't pay that month, but it could be worse.
yeah, you're
I
not
definitely have
homeless.
to remind myself of that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a place to stay. You're sober. Like a lot more things
Hmm.
are way more possible now within the even though your body is doing what it's doing, like things are way more
Hmm.
possible than ever. And I
Oh,
also think that
absolutely.
stuff like this, like you and I meeting, is for is the perfect timing, right? Like regardless of what you believe in, if you're spiritual or any of that, like I think a lot of times you meet people at times when you need them, and
Absolutely. I totally believe in that. Everything happens for a reason, whether you see it in that moment or not. Sometimes it is really hard to see in the moment, but I do believe everything happens, for a reason,
yeah,
and it'll come to light eventually, and it'll click, and you're like, oh, okay, now I get it. That's why I had to go through all of that because now I'm here.
yeah, and I like a podcast for me is always just like a bonus. Like if I know somebody who I'm friendly with, and it's like, hey, oh, you got a story? Sure, come on. But end of the day, we can have these conversations every day. I don't care.
Right? Yeah.
But I think it's important just to give someone sometimes just a platform to just be able to speak. Because, I mean, both of you and I can attest to this. There's a point in our lives where neither of us had no interest in speaking about anything, good or bad.
Hmm.
We had things we were passionate about. We had things that we would love to share if we had the courage, but we
Hmm.
couldn't. And now, like, and I think for this, like, I like that just being able to have a sit down conversation with somebody. They can just tell whatever they want to tell without being judged. And and like I said, there's a lot of people that come on, and this is the first time they've ever done anything like this. And it's like, yeah, man, like it's just chill. Like after a while, like you can't see the red button that's on right now saying record. So
Right. Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
just talking. And at the end of the day, like after a while, you kind of forget that it's being recorded because it's just a friendly conversation. And
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
been,
I've always loved those types of podcasts where it feels like a very natural, good flow, and it doesn't seem like it's a staged type of thing. You know what I mean? Like real talk, real conversations, and essentially giving people a voice that didn't have one, before. I've
yeah,
always been super passionate about that.
you just essentially you're being trained.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. But yeah, you're essentially just being the friend that you never had. Like you're being the person when you needed that person to help say, hey man, you need someone to talk to. You didn't have that, right? They weren't there. But now
Right.
you get, like I said, I always think that's like the biggest transformation is when you, instead of being a burden in society, instead of, being petty and resentful of all the shit that has happened to you, you say, no, man, I want to change what happened to me for someone else. And
Right. Yeah.
that's what to me I love when I see people doing that where they're just I don't care how successful they are, the fact that they're just trying to make the world a better place and they're trying to be that sign that says keep going this way. We're
Hmm.
here for you because like I said there's so many people right now that are they're resentful, they hate people, they hate everything about life because their life was shit, right? They were bullied or
Right.
molested
And I
or
understand that too. Like I
yeah,
completely
me too.
understand both sides, because I'm like, okay, well, I've been there. I've been at that low point of like, well, just screw everything.
Yeah. No, yeah, no, and see that's again that's the brilliance of when you come on the other side of it is that you absolutely can see, you know, the other way because you're like, man, like I talk about this very openly, but it's amazing how much I can resonate with somebody who shoots up a school, and that sounds fucking awful to say, but obviously I
Right.
never
But you
wanted.
understand what brought him to that point.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand being bullied. I understand being pushed into a corner and everybody rejecting you and calling you names and spitting on you and doing all
Hmm.
kind of stuff. And eventually you just snap. And instead of
Right. Yeah.
being a kind person and what you probably are at your core, you know, or somebody, let's say somebody who is molested by their family, right? Like you expect them to grow up, be normal. It's probably not going to
Right.
happen. And
Yeah. No.
there's a lot of awful things that, and again, it doesn't excuse the awful acts. It does not at all. I don't,
Right. No. Yeah. I
but at the same
understand.
time, I understand how somebody could get so enraged and so frustrated by life that you just want your get back. You want revenge, even though you don't know who
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
get revenge on. You're just like, fuck it.
Right.
It's life that hates me. It's God who hates me. It's whatever. Why am I cursed
Well,
with?
it's that saying that I've always liked, that I always say a lot, but like hurt people hurt people.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a revolving, cycle.
For sure. No, it's a very simple but poetic saying because that's what it is.
Hmm.
Most people, and I've tried to stress that a lot with like TikTok lives and stuff because I see people come on and they see what people say to me, and I try to let them know. Like the one day somebody came on and they just said, "Hey, you're ugly," and I'm like,
Oh, geez.
and I just told them I had like 3 mods in at the time. I'm like, do not block them. I'm bringing them up. And I brought him up
Hmm.
for a reason because I knew there was a couple people that were like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I brought him up, and it was just some like 17-year-old kid was like, "Hey, I'm jerking off to you," and I'm like, "See, this is what you guys are afraid of. You're afraid of
Hmm.
somebody who is a child, who has
Hmm.
nothing to offer, and there's nothing about them to be. It's like Scooby Doo. You're taking the mask off, and you find out it's just some old guy with some mechanics and some things, and he's making his costume move within the wind, and it's like, oh, spooky. But it's like you take the mask off, and you see just some old guy on a bicycle. You're like, yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of here. This is just some kid who, unfortunately, just whether wasn't raised right or he took a wrong turn, but he just wants to troll and say awful things about me today. But when I block him, what he's going to do is move on to the next person and say something awful about them. So don't be afraid
Right.
of them.
Yeah.
You take away their power. They're nobody. They're not. They're not going to hurt you. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's the whole point. And it's. I think the older I get, man, it's just like I'm losing my filter. I'm really just double downing on being myself and just saying, you know what, fuck it. Like people are gonna say what they're gonna say. People are gonna judge, but let them. Like, what is that gonna do? Don't let anyone rent space
Yeah.
in your head. Like, there's no point. Like, there's no.
Exactly. Yeah. They're living rent free in your head, is what my husband likes to say.
Yeah, there's.
Like, don't let them do that. Because I get down on stuff like that too. It's very easy. We're all human, and then I'll have moments of like that. A few people coming into my live or the few times that I've done it, or people commenting. And like the other day, someone said, "Well, you don't look disabled," and I really wanted to be upset about it. Like, oh my gosh, how dare you just come in here and just assume that you know my life, or you know what I go through, or you know what I'm experiencing. Like, how dare you? And I got really like riled up about it. And my husband's like, "Let it go. Like, it's not affecting you. It doesn't. You.
Yeah.
You know what you're going through, and don't let someone come in with just this ignorant comment and just make you feel so down about it, like they don't know you." And I'm like, yes, I know, you're right.
Yeah. Doesn't take away from your story. Doesn't take away from what you're dealing with. And then, look, I've gotten that. Like, you don't look blind. Like, especially when I have glasses on or something. And because I get around okay, everyone just assumes I'm not. And I'm like, well, one, I didn't tell you I was totally blind. But two, like you can interpret however you want. I don't care. You can't take away my scars. You can't take away what I've been through. So anybody that says you don't look disabled, like there's a lot of people that quote unquote don't look disabled, because if you think about it, and I've talked about this so many times on here, but our logo for people with disabilities is a little stick figure in a wheelchair, but the majority of us aren't even in wheelchairs. So
Right. Yeah.
and it's like, so what does disabled look like? Now, I know some people are like, well, blind, you got a CNI dog and a cane and some dark glasses. And, well, you don't have those, so you're not that, right? So, and then with you, with having invisible disabilities, those, like, what is this? What is your symbol for that? What is the mascot for invisible disability? Because one, there's so many different variations, but two, like, you can't tell somebody. Like, I get it. I know some people are like, oh, well, there's just people trying to collect money off the government. And yeah, there are people who do that shit, right? But I would say 95% of us are not doing that. And most of us, none of us really, like, as much as I'm a disability advocate, I don't want to be disabled. I accepted it. I'm okay with it, but I don't want to be
Right.
disabled. Hell no.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
it's
I understand that completely.
so it's like the idea of being like, hey, I mean, look, there are some people, unfortunately, because of social media, are just like, hey, accept me, love me, guys. Like they want attention for what's going on with them. But for the
Right. Yeah.
majority of us, like we don't want to be that. We just want to be loved the same way as if we had a disability or didn't. Like whether we
Hmm.
do or don't, we just want to be treated the same. Our life is
Yeah.
different, but just treat
Absolutely.
us the same. That's all. But and society tries to tell you otherwise, and that's why it's up to us to change that because we can't expect people to come save us. I think so many people sit around and just
Absolutely.
like, you know what, I want the able-bodied people to just make the changes. It's like, why? They're only going to make the changes for them because they don't understand your lifestyle. They don't know what you go
Right.
through. So it's up to you to educate them. They're not going to do it. Like they made the rules for them. You could say it's unfair or not, but that's just that's society. That's human nature. That's what humans do. So
Yeah.
until they understand, they don't understand until they get older, until they have a child with a disability or whatever, until life shows them
Hmm.
why they should change their mindset. But until then, they're going to continue to act the way they act. And so you have to educate them. You have to get in their
Right.
ear and say, look, man, we're people too. We need, cutouts for and ramps for people in wheelchairs. We need braille and we need all these different things just so we can blend in and fit in with society. That's all. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I've tried to double down on is just trying to be. I'm very cognizant. I'm trying to be a good representation of the disability community because I know that there's so many of us that don't make us look good because some of us are ashamed of it. Some of it they only show the good, not the bad. And there's just so many other different
Hmm.
things to it. And it's like, for me, no, man, I'm going to show you the bad days too. Whether I want to or not, I'm going to because
Right.
this
Yeah. I
shit
mean,
ain't
that's just
easy.
real. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, you got to. And you gotta keep it real because unfortunately, like the reason why I don't really take anything out of the episodes, I don't edit or anything, is because I like to just let the whole story go and it plays out however it plays out, but I don't want to skip anything. Like I want if there's someone listening to your story, maybe they're a woman who has been homeless and has struggled with addiction and maybe you skip one part of your story or I took it out and they're like, I still feel alone. It's like, even though everything else checks every other box, it's like, nah, man, I want to be able to just leave it. It's real. And
Hmm.
I want to help as many people as I can. And so I feel like you got to keep it as real as possible. I don't care if it goes viral or not. You just got to keep it as real as possible because I think there are a lot more people out here that want it real more than they want this woke nonsense that's going on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just a lot of people are afraid because it's like if you say or you say if you say or feel a certain way, you feel like you're gonna whatever get canceled or people are gonna turn on you. But if you know you're a good person at the
Which,
end of the day, so be it.
yeah. You essentially just you essentially just have to find your people, that see that and understand it as well.
Yeah, for sure. And that's very important because it's when you find people and they don't have to be exactly like you, but like it,
Right.
a weird little thing that I felt recently was I have so many people around me that love the summer. Like they love the hot weather. And like recently I've been meeting
Yeah,
so
me
many
too.
people who say, you know what, I hate the summer. And I've always felt like the outlier in my life because everyone's
Hmm.
like, man, I hate the winter. And I'm like, no, man, I can't stand the fucking summer. Like you can give me any of the summer is in fifth place out of 4 seasons. Like I can't stand the summer. I can't stand the heat. And now that I've been going on live, like I'm meeting all these people that are just like, man, I can't stand it either. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. It's gross. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. I'm not alone in that. Even on something as small as
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm a summer person. I hate the winter, so
okay,
I'm the opposite.
yeah, no, like I said, my grandma gets on me all the time. She's like, I love this weather. I'm like, oh, okay, good luck to you.
And
Uh,
my husband's the opposite. Like he loves the winter and hates the summer, and so
yeah,
I mean, if we can make it work and manage, then everyone else can too. Like,
yeah, I think you've gotten through worse. So yeah, I think you'll
right.
be all right. Um, so I mean, I know a lot of this stuff, especially when it comes to disability stuff, is pretty new to you. But like, I don't want to say like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because that's just corny. But like, what are you? I don't know. Just for you personally, what do you try to hope to achieve? Just just for yourself?
I, my first number one goal has always been to buy my home. I know that's not really like a career type thing
No, that's
or
great.
career type goal, but definitely my first goal would always be to buy my home. We're doing a rent to own right now, but career wise, I've sat and I've thought about that a lot within the last year, because I'm just like at home, and the whole world, kind of got turned upside down. So I've had to ask myself that question a lot. I'm like, okay, well now what, and it's funny that we're sitting here doing a podcast and all of that stuff, because I've always thought that would just be amazing to do, to start something like that, to have real conversations with people that don't have voices, and speak up for people that may not feel comfortable to do so, or to get other people's stories out there. Like, I've met so many different people throughout my life, and I've heard their stories, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if someone knew your story or heard what you had to say or see what you had to offer or see what you've been through, that could just be so beneficial to someone else, and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
And I've even been told that throughout my life, from people that, like, hey, you've really been through some shit. You've really been through some things. You should talk about this because that may help someone else. And a lot of times I'll be like, no, it's fine. Like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, I don't want to share my stuff or whatever. But the more and more I talk about it, and I've met people and I've shared my stuff and my story and all of that, and it really resonates with them, and I never expected it to. And so it's a good feeling of reaching out to people and realizing, oh, okay, there's others out there that feel this way, or has experienced this. And so for me, I would love to someday have some kind of, I don't know, channel, podcast, something like that, to where we can just sit, and then talk about real things, real life, things that people go through every day.
Wow.
That don't seem to be noticed or seen.
Any way I can help you, let me know. But yeah, man. I mean, look, I one of the things I could tell you, I started this 5 years ago. I started just as a way of therapy, trying to get my voice out there and talk about what it's like to have a disability, mental health, and stuff like that. I had about, I say this all the time, but I have about 10, 12 ideas, and I didn't even think it was going to continue after that. I said, there's no way. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? What the fuck do I have to say?
Right.
I mean, I know I've had some crazy things happen in my life, but like, that gets old. And
right.
And then little by little, I mean,
well, it gets old to you.
Yeah.
It gets old to you. You reach out to someone that's like, oh God, I'm so glad you said that.
But you have to start something. You got to start from somewhere. And for me, like, to break it down, like in a short version of the process, is like, once I did those 10, 12 ideas, I just was like, all right, like, I'll start interviewing some people. I don't have that many friends that are that interesting. I didn't have many friends, so I was like, I don't, sure. And then I realized I was just interviewing visually impaired and blind people, and I was like, I want to know what, like, the whole disability community is doing. And I remember I had a cousin who has a son with autism, and then that was kind of dipping my toe in the water. And then little by little, I just started going on, like, Facebook groups, and like if it wasn't for Facebook, or if it wasn't for the podcast, there wouldn't be me on TikTok. If it wasn't for the podcast, I wouldn't be going back to my old school and talking to the blind, or I have a chapter in a book, or all these things that have come from it. Like, I wouldn't be your friend, right? Like, we wouldn't know each other. So it starts from, it may not look like, oh man, your podcast is so successful. It's done okay, but it's not even that. It's given me so much more than I could have ever envisioned, and more than the physical stuff, the as far as all the friends and all that shit. No, what it's given me is more courage. It's given me more confidence to share my story, because all I did was I reopened all those wounds, and now I'm telling you what I've been through instead of thinking about it. I relived it auditorially, and it hurts, but it's helped me to heal properly, instead of just shoving it in a closet and just letting it simmer for a while. It's like just throwing it in the freezer and just say, I'll get back to you someday.
Right, yeah.
And so all I could tell you is just start it, man. Just start it. Try. Like, it's going to start where you're just talking into the bottom of your phone, or you buy a microphone, And then eventually you're going to buy some equipment, and eventually you're going to start really dedicating your time to it, and you're going to care about how the audio sounds, and you're going to want an intro music and all this other shit. But
Mm-hmm.
right out the beginning, it's just talking and just starting and getting your voice, and you just got to realize your voice matters over everything. Like, your voice really does matter, and it's needed. Even if there's no one listening or one person
Mm-hmm.
listening, there's people listen to my podcast. I don't know who the hell they are. I've never heard them. They've never put a 5-star, 1-star. They've never commented, liked it, but they listen, and I'm somehow keeping them alive by what I'm saying or by what the
Mm-hmm.
guests are saying. And I may never know that they love me, that they love my show. I may never know, but I'm helping them somehow. And that's
Right.
all that
Yeah.
matters. And like, we need more of you than we need of all the other shit. There's plenty of sports podcasts. There's plenty of political podcasts. We need, true crime, but we need more people, whether
Right.
it's YouTube or whatever you end up doing. You're now like, you're just going to build more confidence, and you're going to start to realize like, yeah, the disability, it's not going to always be great for you. It's going to suck some days, but you use those days to, it gives you more stories. Some days like you're going to show up and you're going to be in pain, and you're going to help somebody who's currently right in pain right now, and they're like, man, I don't want to get out of bed for the next week, and you're just like, no, man, get up out of bed. I know it takes
Mm-hmm.
everything, but like, by you being a woman talking about chronic pain, by you being a woman talking about mental health and trauma and homelessness, all that shit, man, like, you can help so many people in so many ways you probably can't even imagine.
I hope so. Like I've been thinking about it for a while, and I can't help them physically, like I used to, but I still wanna do something, any way I can, even if I'm just sitting there talking to myself for a little while.
Yeah. Like, my personal advice is just don't think about it for too long, because you're going to constantly tell yourself you can't do it.
Oh, right. I know. I'm good at
Yeah,
that.
you're going to keep telling yourself, what's the point? What's the fucking point?
Right.
And then when you
Mhm.
finally start doing it, when you have no expectations, you're going to look at the numbers and you're going to be like, see, I told you I suck. It's pointless. And it's like, no, you didn't have expectations in the beginning. You just keep going. Keep going.
Right. Yeah.
And every time it fails, you keep going again. You just pick yourself back up, and like I said, I mean, I don't have one viral video on TikTok, but I have over 1,000 videos. So
Yeah.
you just keep going. It is most of it, like 80% of it, is you showing up for yourself. The other 20
Right.
is you showing up
Absolutely.
for everyone else. But you need to build that up. It's like building credit with yourself. Like, you have to
Right.
show up for yourself every day, even when you don't want to, even though your demons or whatever's in your head is saying, why? What's the fucking point of getting online? You haven't had a video that did over 300 views. Why do you care? And it's like, nope,
Mhm.
just keep fucking going. Keep going. Because little by little,
Yeah.
you'll be like, oh man, I have a video that did 300. And you know what you'll do? You'll move the goalpost and say, well, you don't have a video over 400. And you'll just keep doing that shit and keep doing that shit. Even though
Yeah.
you see progress, you'll be like, oh, see, today there's only 10 people in my live, and yesterday there was 50. See, you're falling off. Like, you just have to fight that every day. Like, every day is one
Yeah.
big fight with yourself. And so you just got to
Absolutely. I agree.
stop playing defense and just start swinging back.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
That's what it comes down to. I mean, moving, bobbing and weaving and all that, at least you're moving. At least you're avoiding the blows. But you keep doing that, you're just going to use up all your energy, and eventually you're going to get caught. You're going to get hit by a left hook. But if you start swinging, you start doing, like, surprising your demons by doing things they tell you not to do, they then have to recognize you as a threat. And then they have to adjust, and then you have to adjust, and it's a big cat and mouse thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
you just got to, like I'm telling you, the day I started it, I did not want to do it. I just was like, I was looking for every reason for it not to work. And if there
Right.
was one little notification that popped up that said, oh, your password is incorrect, I would have said, yep, see, that's the sign, and I wouldn't have done it. But it
Right.
all
Yeah.
worked that day. It all worked out. And I didn't have a microphone. I didn't have shit. I just had my iPhone. That's all I had. And I talked to
Yeah.
the bottom. I rambled about, I don't even know what it was. It wasn't a great episode, at least in my eyes, but it was okay. And I was like, all right, well,
Yeah.
that's it. And it's nothing like what I do now, but it's like, it's a start. And once it's out
Mhm.
there, like, I think I did it 3 times, like, because the first 2 times I was just stuttering and rambling. And third time I was like, all right, this is good enough. And I just published it, put it up, and I just said, well, whatever happens from here, happens from here. And that was 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
You just got to do that sometimes. Sometimes you let it, like, no pun intended, you just got to blindly do something. Like, you got to just, just say, all right, I'm jumping off this bridge. Whatever happens from here,
Yep.
this is what happens. God,
Yep. Absolutely.
please let me land softly. And,
Yeah.
and it's scary as hell, but I always wanted to skydive, even though I'll probably never do it because it petrifies me. But I can
Oh,
only
yeah.
imagine,
Yeah.
like, the adrenaline rush of when you touch ground and you're safe. I can only
Oh,
imagine
yeah.
that's got to be one of the greatest feelings ever.
Yeah, I've always thought about that too, but yeah, it definitely scares me to death. I'm like, yeah, probably not.
Or like a musician when they're on stage and they're just, or a comedian or whatever, and the crowd is just loving them. Like, that's got to be the greatest feeling. Like, you got to have the most amazing confidence and just like
I can confirm that yes, it does feel like that because my husband is in a band.
There you
He's
go.
a drummer.
Yeah.
And yeah, he has talked about that many times. Like, and he's also had the experience of like no one clapping,
Right. Yeah.
But he keeps showing up. He keeps playing because it's his passion and he loves it and this is what he wants to do. And he still shows up, whether people enjoy it or not. He just keeps, doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think that's the thing. Like, sometimes you just have to close your eyes and just say fuck it and just trust in whatever it is that you feel. That trust game where you like let yourself fall back and someone catches you. Like, you got to just be like, all right, whatever this is, God, life, whoever's behind me, catch me. I hope to God I don't fall. And
absolutely, yeah.
And that's just what happens. But yeah, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I enjoy talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for welcoming me and having me come on here. Like, it's been a really cool experience.
Good.
Something new to add to the book,
Yeah, and we can do another one down the road and whatever. I mean, I'm always if you ever have ideas too, like, we can always do something. And again, if you have a podcast, we could also down the road collaborate. And if you need me on your show, I'll come on yours. I owe you that. So
yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, man. Like I said, but I do appreciate your friendship, and I mean, I know we don't know each other like that. We're getting to know each other, but I always have.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, but I always have this thing where it's like when they talk about gay guys have like gaydar. Like, I have this thing where I can like sense when somebody's been through some shit, and it's like, I think they need a friend, and then, again, I need it too. So.
Yeah.
But I just, I always appreciate you being kind and coming in and being supportive. So I'm happy that we're friends. And like I said, you need anything, you need someone to talk to, please don't hesitate.
You the same. Absolutely.
All righty. Well, I'm going to go wrap this up. And like I said, I really do thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All right, bye.
All right, guys, we are back. Well, of course we're back. We're still here. But, yeah, I hope you enjoyed her. She's a delight. I think I talked too much on this episode, so I apologize to her and you. That's my insecurity kicking in, if you can't tell. But, yeah, man, I hope everybody's doing well, man. As you can tell, I'm finding a lot of awesome people off of TikTok. And if you aren't following me, please go follow me at My Blurred Opinion. You should know the name because, well, you're listening to the show by that same name. So, yes. But yeah, man, anybody out there who's struggling, whether it's something similar to what I go through or what Sarah's going through or has gone through, please, you can get through it. I know it feels impossible, but you can. I promise you. All right, guys, I'm going to see you all next week. Thank you for the love and your viewership. It means everything to me. I don't ever ask for much, but if you do listen to the show and you can go and put 5 stars, if that's if you like it, you can just interact with it a little bit. It does help push me out more to more people. So you're doing me a service, but just asking. If you can, you can. You can't, you can't. But thank you for your time, and I'll see you guys next week. Right? Right.